Hello everyone, my name is Getachew Birhanu Kabede. I am Social Protection Specialist and working at Ministry of Labor and the Social Affairs of Ethiopia. Now we will talk about the registration and enrollment process, which can be understood as the last stage of the administrative implementation of the selection policy. I will explain on the first part the issues that need to be considered when designing registration mechanism, including accuracy, robustness, auditability, opportunity to complain, and transparency of information. On the second part, I will explain the different types of registration process: on-demand, application approach, census approach, data integration, and sharing from existing databases. Finally, I will explain the role of communication and the grievance mechanism, which we will touch in another module. Regarding the issues that need to be considered when designing registration mechanism, we can highlight that the registration process can be understood as the administrative implementation of selection policy. It involves collecting personal data from applicants such as age, disability status, and income, verifying the accuracy of data submitted, and assessing whether it complies with the program eligibility criteria. The complexity of the registration process depends on the program selection policy, which is set out in its eligibility criteria. Eligibility criteria for such transfer program tends to involve a combination of geographic, political, demographic, social, and economic indicators. When designing a registration mechanism for cash transfer programs, the following issues need to be considered. Accessibility. Registration mechanism should be accessible to everyone, and the measures should be taken to ensure that most vulnerable individuals and the family have equal access. On the robustness part, clear policies on the acceptability form of proof of eligibility for scheme should be established, such as identity card or birth certificate. If these are not available, a scheme needs to develop alternative solutions. Auditability. Since registration determines who benefits from program, it is a key source for fiduciary risk. Registration mechanisms therefore need to be auditable with clear accountability for decision making. Transparency of information means all information held on applicant from registration should be made available to them. If requested, this introduces an important check within the registration process, since officials who know that their work can be easily accessed are less likely to take advantage of the applicant by falsifying information. However, individuals should be able to access information that's held on them. Regarding the second part on the type of the registration process, it is important you know that although there are many types of registration process, it's helpful to make a simple distinction between two types of registration, as administrative system for registration of beneficiaries can face several challenges in terms of ensuring access, which varies depend on the approach adopted. Two main questionnaire-based approach exist. The first part is the census survey registration. In another way, we may call it push, which entails a labor-intensive approach by which all households in the area are interviewed at selected intervals. A push or a census mechanism involves enumerators visiting all potential applicants to determine whether they qualify. Push mechanisms are often used with proximity tests. The second registration type is on-demand registration, or we can call it as pull mechanism. This relies on households to go to a local welfare office to register and apply for benefits. Modern approach to on-demand registration includes the use of online application or mobile phone application. A pull mechanism expects applicants to visit a specific location, apply for the scheme. Finally, on the last, we will discuss on communication and the grievance mechanism. It's important to know that a critical factor in success of any social transfer program is effective communications. Potential applicants need to know about the existence of a program, eligibility criteria, and how to apply. To be effective, communication strategy requires significant investment and must be tailored to the needs of the potential applicant. Therefore, relying on published material when literacy levels are low is problematic. In multilingual context, communication should also be multilingual. A wide range of communication channels should also be used, in particular those that are accessible to people with more limited capacity or who lives in more remote areas. On the grievance readiness mechanism, we have to establish a good mechanism for the potential applicant and for the beneficiary to provide an appeal in case of any problem in selection and in identifying the eligible criteria. So having an appeal and grievance mechanism is helpful for implementing the selection and identification of beneficiaries. So before we implement any kind of social protection program, we need to have a good appeal and a grievance mechanism in place at all levels. Well, that's what we have for today. I hope this brief overview may be helpful for you to follow this modular content. Enjoy the activity ahead.